You guys are listening to the Masculinity Show, a podcast for introverts to become more masculine and get the body of an alpha male. And of course, get more mentally healthy and get that seducer's mindset, if you get me. And lastly, I help guys become more desirable and get the mindset of a seducer. Let's get into the podcast.
All right, brothers, this podcast is divided into two parts, okay? So before I get into the content, just understand that in the show notes I have Alpha Body Bootcamp in my hardcover book. Now, let's go. So how do we do this, right? We want to have conversational control. Brothers, the minute you start conversing with girls, understand that she is reading you, your body language, and how guarded you are, right? Something I want you to understand, you guys, is you have to be relaxed in your body language. Comfortable body language. In fact, something that I've noticed that I work on in my own game right now is I am open with my body language, and I've noticed that it's just worked 10 times better in my favor. So, understand this, brothers. When you have open, comfortable body language, this just works so well in your favor. Now, and also you guys, because I'm just kind of getting my arms back and kind of just purposely showing that muscle there, from Alpha Body Bootcamp. Brothers, if you are doing my program, good for you, because that's awesome. Now, I want to talk about conversational control. So, brothers, understand this. How you control the conversation is basically how you steer it, okay? You want to take it in different directions. There are many different directions to take it. I could assume like a role that I want to play. Let's just say, for example, I'm going to be an overly confident fuckboy, right? And the girls are just accusing me of being a player. Like, I greatly appreciate that. Like, that's cute. You think I'm a player? That's cute. That's really fucking cute. I think you're a player over there too. And in fact, I think that you're so good with guys that you could probably pick that guy up over there. But honestly, me, not so much. I mean, I might seem like a player, but deep down, I'm really not that easy. So, brothers, notice what I did there, okay? Even though I would assume the role of a fuckboy, understand this. You want to play hard to get always. Just always play hard to get. Don't make it so easy for girls. Now, she just kind of brushes up on your ass. Like, girls tend to do this, right? When they're attracted. She brushes up against my ass. I'm like, hey, girl, what are you doing there? I know what move you just did. It's one of my favorites. It's the casually grope on the right butt cheek, and you think you can just get away with that. Like, do you think that you can get away with just groping my ass like that? Like, look, even if she just brushes or gropes, I'm like, yo, chick, honestly, I want you to be careful, because if you keep doing that, I'm going to have to ask you to buy me a drink. Boom, there you go, you guys. So, again, just giving you an example of taking a role, and you are going to assume that role, get into that role, and be congruent in that role, okay? This is just an example, you guys. So, if she drops her phone, right? She just drops her phone, all right? This is perfect opportunity where I would tell her this, all right? You're just making sure you take every opportunity to show me the goods. Like, what's this all about? What's this all about? Like, do you want me to see your phone? Like, do you want me to pick it up for you? Or are you just trying to, purposely dropped your phone so that I can pick it up, so that I can put my number in your phone, kind of thing. You get me, you guys? Do you get me? So, that's an example, right, of taking the role and owning it. Be congruent in the role, you guys. So, I don't want to stay on role playing too much, okay? Just understand this. You can take on a different role, okay? Now, sometimes, you guys, I'll get deep into the role of being like her daddy, okay? This one's perfect, you guys. Especially for girls that are very submissive. They love this shit. So, like, you need someone to put you in your place, kind of thing. Like, you really need someone to put you in your place. Do you know what you're doing over there? Like, I can see you trying to get me to look at you. But I'm going to let you know right now that if you keep doing that, I'm going to have to put you in your place. And she might call me daddy, right? She might call me daddy. And I'll say back to her, well, you know what? If you keep this dirty look going on with your eyes, I will take you in the bathroom. There's no way we can do that. No way. Because honestly, that's way too inappropriate. We shouldn't be talking about that right now. Guys, listen to me. Notice what I did there. You want to stop physical escalations quickly. Because here's the thing, brothers. It's better that you do the rejecting of physical escalations first before her. So, that's it for role plays. I'm going to get into the second part of this podcast. Kind of hesitated to reveal this because I've used it. It's pretty fucking effective. So, with that said, those of you legends out there that are open-minded, stay tuned because I'm telling you, I call this the emotional stimulation palm read for a damn good reason. First big point, you guys. First big point is raise up her buying temperature by doing what I normally talk about, right? Prompting tests and passing them, just by being slightly cocky. Like, oh, I love myself so much. I love mirrors so much. I love me. I just fucking love me. I love me so much. Oh, there you go, you guys. Fucking great, right? Prompt tests. How you prompt tests is you just kind of act slightly cocky, right? Have a healthy ego without being too overbearing with it. You get me? Show that sexy self-love. More importantly, banter with her. Build up that buying temperature effortlessly. You get me? Get her respect in the process. Show that manly vibe. Don't tell. Now, here's what you do. Ask her. Say, hey, give me your hand for 2 seconds. I just want to do a quick little palm reading. And she's going to be like, well, what is that? Well, I'll say, well, it's simple, right? I can just get a good feeling on how you are. I can tell by the way you act, by the way you've grown up, by the way you've basically been raised to be this really independent woman, just by doing a little bit of palm reading. So, let me see your hand for a second. And then she'll raise her hand. I'll grab it in a physical way, right? Not too hard, right, brothers, okay? There's a point in time where you can get a little more physical when she's comfortable with it, but not now, okay? Especially when you first meet girls. So I tell her, relax your fingers, just relax. I'm going to explain this to you first so that you know where you're going. This is your headline as I point down to the line on her hands. Then I point to another line. Say, this is your lifeline. Then I point to another line and I say, this is your heart line. Most of the time, that's where most of the interesting things show up. But what caught my attention about you are a couple of the most advanced lines. See, here's your line of fate right here as I go to another line that I haven't addressed, right? Yours stops straight at the headline. That's the original line that I would point to, that I started out with. I'm going to go on a limb here, but it feels to me like that when you were a kid or even a teenager, something happened. Something made you grow up really fast or become an adult before you were really ready. Now, that is a cold read, brothers, right there. Did you notice that? I'll repeat that one more time. I'm going to go out on a limb here, but it feels to me that when you were a kid or even a teenager or in your early teen years, something drastically happened. Something made you grow up really fast or become an adult before you were ready. Cold read. Now, that must have been really hard, but look at it this way. I can see that you're obviously a very passionate person on the inside. You try to hide it, and I can relate to that. But deep inside that shell, you're a deeply emotional person, aren't you? Now, she's going to agree. Start leading, you guys. Pacing and leading, don't forget that. And since that goes straight to your love line, that's where we all go next. See, when you were a little girl, you wanted a Prince Charming. And you always thought Prince Charming would just walk into your life without you having to do anything, and everything would just feel so perfect. You know that feeling you still sometimes get when something just feels so right. Like right after you make a big decision, or the moment you realize you're with the right person. You know that feeling you still sometimes get when something just feels so right. Like right after you make a big decision, or the moment you realize that you're with the right person. At this point, she'll ask, how do you find the right person? This is your response. But your problem here is that you have a very caged heart. It's like bars on a jail cell sometimes. You don't let people in easily. But once they're in forever. Even if you had your Prince Charming right in front of you, you might not even know what to do or how to get his attention. Which you'll most definitely say, wow, that's very intuitive of you to say that, or something like that. Now, this is the last part, you guys. Okay, last part. Okay? You know that feeling of seeing someone in an apartment or a friend for the first time, but being so curious about it? Just knowing in the back of your mind that it's right, even if part of you is afraid to admit it. You have a good intuition, but you don't always follow it, do you? That's it, you guys. So, I'll take you through that again, okay? Have her bring out her hand, and she says, relax your fingers, just relax. I'm going to explain this to you first so that you know where I'm going with this. This is your headline as you point to the lines on your hands. This is your lifeline. This is your heart line. Most of the time, that's where most of the interesting things show up. But what caught my attention about you are a couple of the more advanced lines. See, here's your line of fate. Yours stops straight at the headline. I'm going to go out on a limb here, but it feels to me like when you were a kid or even a teenager, something happened, something drastic. Something made you grow up really fast or become an adult before you're really ready. And then she's going to be really amazed by this. And then you follow it up and you say, it must have really been hard. Just pause here. Let the tension build. And then you continue. But look at it this way. I can see you're obviously a very passionate person on the inside. You try to hide it a lot. And I can relate to that. But deep inside of that shell, you're a deeply emotional person, aren't you? Guys, that right there is a cold read. Now, the next part, right? And since that goes straight to your love line, that's where we'll go next. See, you were a little girl. You wanted a Prince Charming. And you always thought Prince Charming would just walk into your life without you having to do anything. And everything would just be so perfect. You know that feeling you still sometimes get when something feels so right. Like right after you make a big decision or the moment you realize that you're with the right person. She'll ask you, oh my God, how do you find the right person? And then follow it up and you say, but your problem here is that you have a caged heart. You want to make a cage over her heart, right? Then I pull back and I say, it's like bars on a jail cell sometimes. You don't let people in easily, but once they're in forever. Even if you had your Prince Charming right in front of you, you might not know what to do or how to get his attention. She'll respond. That's amazing that you know that. And then finish this up, you guys, right here. You know that feeling of seeing someone, like a piece of clothing or an apartment or a friend for the first time, but being so curious about it? Just knowing in the back of your mind that it's right, even if part of you is afraid to admit it. You have very good intuition. I really value that about you. But you don't always follow it, do you? Guys, that is powerful stuff, okay? So, I took her through a palm reading sequence and I totally just did some vulnerable storytelling of like her past, cold reading how emotional she is, right? And how much of a passionate girl she is. Brothers, it's powerful stuff, I'm telling you. Okay, it might sound cheesy to some of you, but listen to me right now. I don't care if this sounds cheesy, because let me tell you something. Girls are emotional beings. They live in their emotions, and you have to understand that right now. So a lot of you guys, you don't get that. And that's why you struggle with girls. All right, peace out. I love you. Remember, you guys, you always have to appeal to a girl's emotional mind.
Surprise, bitch. Yo, brothers, listen to me. I know I haven't done an outro like this in a long time, but you know what? I'm doing my weekly check-in with all of you. Weekly check-in, okay? Are you still following my fitness advice? Listen to me. Go to my YouTube and subscribe, okay? Go to my YouTube and subscribe. See what I'm up to. Look in the show notes. And even follow me on X, formerly known as Twitter. Peace out, brothers. I love you. I do put up tweets on fitness and relationships.